So please welcome him, Karl Soule, to Los Angeles.
Thank you.
And there's nothing, I mean, he can tell you exactly what his title is. I'm really not sure. What is your title?
Oh, I
Do
don't
you have
even
a title?
know. I don't even know
Do you have a
myself
title?
at this point.
Well, he works for Adobe, and he works in like this super secret lab down in Culver City, and they do all this super secret stuff for like feature films. So eventually, all this super secret stuff that they're doing will end up in some of these feature films, and then he'll be able to tell us about it. But right now, he knows everything about all their mobile apps. So, Karl Soule.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, this is kind of a homecoming for me. I was kind of infamous in this group by showing up and demoing Premiere on a Windows PC many, many years ago. So I, of course, am not going to be showing anything on Windows today, but I am actually going to be talking a little bit about cross-platform work. Adobe has a really cohesive strategy with mobile applications, and the best thing for everybody here in this room, they're free. The whole idea of these creative apps, we kind of had a few fits and starts with different experiments trying to figure out how to use devices like the iPad for real professional work, but what's happened over the last couple of years is everything is kind of gelled and solidified, and we've got a number of different apps that I can talk about tonight. To find any of these apps, just go to the App Store, go to Google Play. You can download, there's a whole slew of different apps. I'm only, for the time that I have tonight, I really wanted to spend some time and go in-depth on two specific apps. But just know there's a Creative Cloud app. If you're a Creative Cloud member, you can use this to actually look at and preview files on your mobile devices. We've got Lightroom Mobile, which has just become a mainstay for every picture that I take on the iPhone. I run it through Lightroom Mobile, just give it a little bit of extra oomph and tweaking some of the values. Really makes a difference if you're doing photography work. The apps that I'm going to be covering tonight, though, I really want to focus on just two. How many here already have Adobe Capture? Awesome. If you don't have Capture, make sure and download it, because this is it's got a broad appeal for anybody doing creative work, even outside of the video space. I'm going to focus on one specific feature inside of Capture tonight, which is really geared towards working with color, both on your mobile phone as well as on your desktop computer later on. But Capture is a tool that basically it allows you to capture patterns, it allows you to capture vector art that you can animate later in After Effects. It gives you the ability to create brush strokes. And if you've ever struggled with graphic design, having something organic that you can just, you see an interesting, cluster of leaves on the ground, you can actually capture that, turn it into a brush stroke really quickly and easily. So it's a really versatile application that can be used in a lot of different ways. What I want to show you tonight is how you can use it to actually create color LUTs. This is a tool for generating a 3D color LUT as well. So I'm going to give you guys a quick demonstration of that. The next thing that I'm going to talk about is actual editorial work on your phone. We have an application called Adobe Premiere Clip. Clip's got a lot of different features that I'm going to kind of give you guys a quick demonstration of. What's really, really awesome about Clip is at the end of this whole process, there is a one-button push to send what you're working on over to the desktop and continue editing it in Premiere Pro. So it gives you that ability to cut something quickly out in the field, and then you can continue to tweak it and massage it later on. So without further ado, I'm going to actually jump over onto my iPhone here, and I'm going to go ahead and launch Adobe Capture. And up at the top of Capture, you're going to see that there's a series of different settings up at the top here. These are vector shapes. These are patterns that were generated from my camera. So anybody who had a kaleidoscope as a kid, this is absolutely fantastic. I made this one earlier from my daughter's new haircut. So she happens to be sitting out here in the audience, so if I zoom in far enough, you could probably see that. Let's go back to my library here. Color swatches, if you're ever just trying to get kind of a rough idea of like a particular color pattern from a client or something like that, you can use this to use your camera. Obviously, depending on lighting, the accuracy might not quite be 100%, but at least it'll get you in the ballpark. Brushes that you can make. And this is what I wanted to focus on here. So this is where you can actually make color looks based on what your camera sees. Now, I actually brought something with me here with some interesting color, just to kind of use this as an example here. But usually where you would want to use this is if you happen to be in a room with like maybe an interesting lighting pattern, you see some sort of reflection of purple light on a blue wall, and it creates kind of this interesting kind of interplay. If you've ever seen a really beautiful sunset, this is perfect for that, and it'll work with photos as well. So basically what I'm going to do, I kind of like the green color here in this particular shot. So I'm going to go ahead and use my camera and grab that. And now I can go through and I can pick exactly what shade that I want to work with. So I'm going to say here's a blue shade. Oh, and someone's tweeting about me. Here's the green that I want. Now, the way this works, if I use my finger, I can click and tap on the image. Here's the original video clip. When I let go, there's the color LUT being applied to the video clip. So in technical terms, what this is creating is a .cube file with a midtone shift. So it shouldn't affect white balance or black balance. It's just creating that really nice, a subtle amount of color. Now, everybody's idea of subtle can be a little bit different, which is why we have this intensity slider down here. So if you want to go really extreme, you can bump this way up. If you want to like really bring this down, make this really subtle, you have the control over doing that. Now, once I save this,
that's awesome.
Thank you. Once I save this, where I'm actually saving this to is in a library, and libraries are part of the Creative Cloud. I can go to the website, I can pull this down as just a file if I want to use this in other applications. Again, this is a .cube file, so anything that is compatible with a .cube file you can use this file in. If you're working inside of the Adobe tools, such as this one, in Premiere Pro, After Effects, even in Photoshop, there is a libraries panel now. You can actually have multiple libraries. Each library can be assigned to multiple people, and something that was just added to libraries in the last month is the ability to set up different roles for who is using a library. So libraries can actually contain graphic elements, they can contain brush strokes, they can contain Photoshop layers, and now you can actually set something up so that it's read-only for the majority of people that you're collaborating with. In this case, I've got my library set up. I'm just using my base library here. As soon as I create something like this, based on the unpredictability of the internet, it will synchronize and will show up inside of my library. And if I want to use this on a clip, all I have to do at that point is drag it and drop it to see it affect any given piece of video. So this whole idea of using this with color, it's kind of a first step. It's not really mobile filmmaking yet, but it's that idea of mobile creativity wherever you want. I wanted to show this first because this directly ties in with the next app that I want to cover, which is Adobe Premiere Clip. Clip is full-on editorial on your mobile device, and this will actually have a different user interface whether you're using this on your phone or on your tablet. It actually takes advantage of the real estate in different ways. So on the phone, we've got more of a vertical scrolling setup here. So I've got a number of different projects that I've been working on here as I've been traveling around. I was in Mumbai 2 weeks ago, got caught in this torrential downpour. It was middle of monsoon season. So I just whipped out my camera, I whipped out my phone, threw it into 240 frame per second slow motion mode, and just thought I'd see if I could do something kind of creative while I was in a taxi ride for about an hour and a half trying to get across Mumbai. Actually trying to drive like about 5 miles. Anybody who complains to me about LA traffic, go to Mumbai. That's all I have to say. Okay, so here we've got a number of different clips. This will work with clips that are on the phone. This will work with clips that are synchronized through Lightroom or photos that you have in Lightroom mobile. If you have used the Creative Cloud, if you have clips that are sitting in your if you have clips about in your Creative Cloud files, you can actually, if they're in the right format, this is designed, the clips have to be compatible with iOS, so we're typically talking about like MP4 files. But if you have existing files, I've taken footage in the past from like, you know, a Phantom drone and actually brought those over onto my phone and continued to edit those clips from my phone. So it will work in that way as well. We now have compatibility with Dropbox. And then, of course, you can also just use the camera directly if you want to shoot and record something directly into Premiere Clip. Once you get started, once you have a series of clips, this basically uses a storyboard style interface where you can pick up and move clips around and get the order that you want. And every clip has a series of trim handles. So I can play this clip just by clicking on the clip. And if I want to adjust the in point or the out point, I can use these little purple handles to actually kind of drag these out, drag them in. You might notice that that has a music bed already applied to it. That's something that I've already gone through and done in this particular project. But this works with both audio and video from your camera. Every clip has a series of controls down at the bottom, so I can come in and play with exposure, play with shadows and highlights. We'll kind of crispen that up a little bit. Here's where I can adjust the particular audio for this clip. Right now, I just have the audio turned off because this is obviously that slow motion. Yeah, I think the taxi driver's talking to me, so there's like that voice going on. But if I did want to work with audio for this, we've got some simple volume controls, fade in and fade out. And smart volume is basically auto ducking. This will automatically, if you have your music soundtrack, as someone talks in a given video clip, it'll automatically duck down the music bed in the background. You can also play with slow motion. Now, one thing that we don't have currently is the ability to do like speed ramps. This is something that I've been putting in as a feature request. Since this footage was shot at 240 frames per second, that feature is currently disabled. And then lastly, there's some more editing controls in here where I can duplicate a clip. I can use the playhead control to split this into multiple clips. If I've got like a single 20-minute shot that I've done and I need to kind of break that up, I can do that from here as well. Now you may notice in the upper corner, you see that little spinny wheel that's happening up there. What that is Creative Sync actually in action. So everything that I'm doing here on my phone is actually syncing up to the cloud. You can set Premiere Clip to only do the synchronization over Wi-Fi if you don't want to, you don't have to worry about it eating up all of your data. It will synchronize all of the video clips that you're working on will automatically be synchronized to the cloud as you're working. You don't have to wait for it. It's something that actually happens in the background. But once the clips are synchronized, any changes that you make at this point, relatively quickly they'll sync. There's not a lot of data that's being transferred if you're just changing edit points and kind of moving things around. All right, let me jump out of that. Now, the two main areas that you can kind of play with your entire sequence, changes that you make on the entire timeline. The first one has to do with adding a soundtrack, and there is actually a whole process inside of Premiere Clip where you can synchronize to music. You'll notice as I'm doing trimming, if you see each of the clips has these little tiny dots inside of the clip. Premiere Clip will go through and automatically find music beats and actually allow you to synchronize your edits to the beat. So basically what these little dots are indicating are the places in the music soundtrack where there's an interesting music post that I might want to actually trim the edit to. So this is something that Clip will do automatically for you. As far as selecting and trimming music, you do have a very simple control here for kind of making an adjustment for where you want to start your soundtrack. You can go through and replace your soundtrack. I'll show you a little bit more about that. One other thing that you can also use with Clip, and this is something that's actually on a whole project, every project level, is inside of your Creative Cloud settings, there is an adjustment in here. Bear with me one second while I find it. Preferences. You'll notice that there's something listed in here about branding preferences. Branding preferences in Premiere Clip is something relatively new, but what this allows me to do is set up so that any project that I'm working on will automatically be watermarked and can automatically have a tail end branding clip that'll automatically be attached to the end of the project. So for people who are using this for like publishing things very quickly, very rapidly out to social media, that's exactly what this is designed to do. You can automatically have some sort of branding on those clips as you're publishing direct out to social media. All right. That's exactly what's going on here, yeah. So in this particular clip, if I go ahead and, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and turn this sideways and I'll go ahead and play a little section of this. The edit's still pretty rough on this. Here's my audio. So the whole idea of this is you can push something out relatively quickly, have it branded. That's not something that you have to go back in and add each and every time. You can just have that set up. It'll automatically do that for you. All right. I'm going to jump out of this project, and let's go down to another project. I had the opportunity, if you ever get to New Zealand, if you're ever on the North Island in New Zealand, it's a real treat to actually go visit Hobbiton. They have the entire standing set of Hobbiton is available. They take you a little bus through the sheep farms, and they take you, and you're suddenly in this mystical, magical valley from Hobbiton. Now, for this particular edited segment here, I actually use some music I don't have the rights to use. This was something for friends and family, so I grabbed the soundtrack out of my iTunes library, and you can definitely do that. Clip will allow you to go in and use just about any piece of music that you happen to have available to you. And of course, I don't have to teach you guys about, you can completely change the feel of something from So now, of course, we can't use that, so I'm going to go in and use something from the built-in themes. Premiere Clip comes with a whole series of free themes that the rights and clearances have all been taken care of. You guys can use these on any of your projects. So let's completely change this to something entirely different. Let's just start it from the beginning. Yeah. Okay. So you get the idea. So there's a whole series of different themes that you can kind of pick and choose from that come included with Premiere Clip that you can go ahead and use. Now, the last little bit of this, I'm going to click on the little gear up at the top here, and this is where I can get in to actually work with the project settings. So Clip has built into it the photo motion. This is obviously kind of the the Ken Burns effect of if you're using any still photos, you'll get a little bit of motion in them. This is where you can turn on and off the watermark and the video bumper. But what's really cool about this is the look up at the top. These are actually looks that were originally created in Adobe SpeedGrade. Again, these are the same type of look files that we were talking about earlier with Capture. And if I click on my library, I can go in and select a library. And from here, as I let this go through and sync. There's the look that we just created using that green color. So I can go ahead and select that. And it's a little, of course, I made this one really, really subtle because I like doing things that, really look good. So I don't know if you noticed it there. I'll go ahead and I'll select off of it. Here's a different one, kind of a purple color. There's kind of the cooler green hills effect. So we can go ahead and add that into our project there. So this whole project, at this point, I'm pretty much ready to export this out. Now, I can save this locally if I just want a copy of this on my local device. I can save it into the Creative Cloud. We've done full integration now with Dropbox, so you can also save it to Dropbox. There are some social media settings in here where you can directly save out to YouTube and Twitter. But I think the most interesting one here is this ability to actually send to Premiere Pro. Because everything that you're doing here, all of the individual clips, all the individual edits that you've made at this point, the source media is being synchronized through the Creative Cloud. So if you're a Creative Cloud member, I can click on Send to Premiere Pro, and this will go through and actually send the project. Almost there. There we go. Now, I don't know how well the internet's going to be working on my laptop here. Really badly? Okay. I have saved this before, but so we'll see. I might end up with an earlier edit here. If I go to File, Convert Premiere Clip Project, this will take me directly to the folder where all of my files have been synchronizing via Creative Cloud, via Creative Sync. And there's my Hobbiton project. There's the edit. Now here's another little interesting tidbit. What this is actually saving out is a slightly modified form of Apple XML. So this is the edit here. I'll just double click on that. Nope, not save changes. It'll import my media. And there's the edit that I did on my phone, now over in Adobe Premiere.
That's crazy.